Are you having a difficult time closing your customers? Maybe you're finding you're getting a lot of objections during the sales process. Or maybe you're finding customers are upset once they do sign with you because what they're receiving is not what they expected. You can relieve all of these different challenges, these different issues in sales, if you learn how to listen effectively. In fact, I'll suggest that by practicing listening and really perfecting your listening skills, you can improve your closing ratio, reduce your objections, and ensure that almost every customer is a top customer. They're somebody that you look towards for referrals and introductions. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 different steps or stages that you can apply in order to improve your listening skills as a sales professional. Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore, and I help you learn how to sell more in less time. If that sounds good to you, can't imagine why I wouldn't. Then make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. And if you have something to add that are tips and strategies that work for you, make sure you comment down below. Now, let's get into it. Now, I have to be If you're a really social person, then listening might not come naturally to you. That's not to insult you, but it's to say that social people like to talk oftentimes more than they listen. Here's something you can do to ensure that you listen. Use what I call the countdown method. So when you ask a question of somebody, count slowly in your head. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. I can almost promise you if you ask a question and you count at that speed, by the time you hit 4, they will have said something. You see, not only do many of us in sales like to talk, but we don't like silence, which means we'll ask a question, when do you plan to introduce this product into your business? And let me just add to that, and because we can get it to you sooner, is that going to be good enough? See what happens? We don't like the silence, and it's the silence that allows us to really learn what's going on. It's the first step in listening. I can't listen if I don't stop talking.
You okay?
Well, since you asked, no, not really. My mother-in-law's moving in. The cat got diagnosed with cat diabetes, and the medicine, it's also expensive. And now my daughter started taking violin lessons, and I'm losing my mind with the sound of that.
So use the countdown method to help you pause and to not be so concerned about jumping into that silence. It will ultimately allow you to learn more about the priorities and needs of your buyer. Second thing I want you to practice in sales, and it's important not just for listening, but to make sure you set up the sale such that you've got satisfied customers. I referenced this briefly in one of my other videos on how to deal with a challenging customer. It's paraphrasing. So at the end of every brief discussion, stop and paraphrase. You might do this 2 or 3 times during the meeting, and then again at the conclusion of the meeting. For example, I might ask you some questions, you provide some answers, we might have some more questions, some more answers, and then I might say, well, let me just paraphrase what I've understood so far. And then you read off your notes. You are taking notes, right? So you're going to want to write these things down so that you can go back and refer to this later when you put your quote or your proposal together. Make sure you practice paraphrasing. Oftentimes you might do this 2 to 3 times during a 1-hour meeting and once at the end. I just want to summarize everything we've talked about here today, and you go through the points that you've written down. This is a chance for the buyer, your prospect, to clarify anything you missed.
Make it make sense.
Or state something that's really important to them just to make sure you highlight it. So make sure you paraphrase. This next one might not seem so interesting, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't do this. If you're trying to listen and listen carefully to your buyer, you've really got to be prepared with some good questions. So what I suggest you do is before every meeting, go in with a handful of questions that you want to ask your buyer. Now, if you've been selling for a while, you'd say, Shawn, I don't need to write these down. I ask the same questions every time. Okay, that's fair. But I'm sure there's some nuances that you want to flush out based on each specific customer. At least you should be. That's how you make your solution, your product, your service appear to be something that's a customized solution, even though it might not be. It's by digging deep into the questions. So make sure you write down or script out some questions that you want to ask. And it's okay in the meeting if you have to look down at your book or your notes and say, there's something else I wanted to ask you. Just let me take a quick look here, right? Because it shows your prospect, it shows your buyer that you've taken the time to prepare and that you're investing time in this conversation.
You have my undivided attention.
Okay.
It really tells them that what they're telling you is important. Under each question, leave yourself some space to write those notes. This reinforces listening. When I ask you a question, and it's a good one, and you give me an answer, and I write down some notes, it really ingrains the answers in my brain. By writing stuff down, it allows us to recall this information in a way that will ensure it remains with us, which means we'll have better conversations. We'll remember each customer and they will stand out to us. That is all of the intel we need to make sure that we close these sales faster and really that we avoid objections because we're asking better questions, we're taking notes, and we're following up. Now, if you want a way to track your questions and really tie all this in with your daily prospecting and selling activities, make sure you click that link down below. I've created for you what I call the 30-day action sales planner. If you've watched my other videos, you've heard me talk about it, so why haven't you downloaded it? That is a resource I created. You can print it off, you can use it in Adobe, whatever you prefer. The goal, however, is to give you a tool that can track your progress and you can take your notes all in one place. So make sure you click the link down below and download your copy. No obligation, no cost, something I put together just for you. If you're trying to improve your listening in sales, you need to get better at being influential. Questions, listening, and influence all work together ultimately in order to make sure that we are more effective in selling to others. Click this link to watch this video next to learn more about how you could be more influential in sales. And until next time, let's get out there and go sell something. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.